Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We're ready for the event.
JSC PAO, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for voice check.
Station, this is JSC PAO. How do you hear me?
We have you loud and clear. How do you hear us?
You sound great, and we want to start by congratulating you on an amazing spacewalk last week. It was so much fun to watch. We've got reporters dialed in here, as well as one here on site. It's bad weather here in Houston, so not a lot came in person. But we've got a lot of questions lined up for you, and we'll jump right in. We'll start here with Rob Perlman from Collect Space.
Hi, Jessica and Christina. Rob Perlman from Collect Space. Start with you, Christina. On Friday, as your spacewalk got underway, we reported that a component of your spacesuit matched by serial number, a component that was worn by Kathy Sullivan 35 years ago during her history-making EVA. She reacted to the news on social media saying that, Christina, you wore it well. So I'd ask if you would react to that, and what does it mean to you to share that extra little connection to spacewalk history?
Wow, that's very overwhelming, and I was not aware of that. It is an honor to have a matching component, something that was worn on that historic moment when Kathryn Sullivan was the first U.S. woman to do a spacewalk back in 1984. And the fact that she had those kind words to say for us and, you know, what we were doing last Friday is just an incredible honor. Kathryn Sullivan also happens to be a NOAA employee, or, you know, has contributed to NOAA just like I did. And I was also fortunate enough to receive a congratulatory phone call from her when I was accepted into the astronaut corps. So it's really neat to see those connections continue. I will say that those that paved the way for us to be where we are today, we just have just the utmost appreciation for them. And I think we just pay homage to the fact that they allowed us to do what we do today and to achieve the dreams that we have.
And for Jessica, setting aside the larger history for a moment, this was personal history, your first EVA. How did you find the experience, and how did you celebrate afterwards?
It was really an incredible experience, and it's difficult to put it into words, the mixture of emotions and feelings that you have when you're going out the door the first time. You know, we've been training, Christina and I have both been training together for over 6 years now, and a lot of the spacewalk training that we do is a major component of that training on the ground. So we feel very comfortable and familiar with the suits, with the tools, with all the interfaces and that we know how to use, and you really develop this muscle memory and what it's like to work in the suit. But all of that is based underwater in the neutral buoyancy lab back in Houston. So it's a totally different feeling suddenly when you're up here, the same suit, the same tools, but of course we're weightless for the first time. And so the interesting part is that some of the challenges we have underwater in the pool that make it difficult in the pool are actually opposite challenges that we have here in space. You don't have the drag of the water, but of course it's easy to get going, it's hard to stop. So your brain has to try to interpret all these things from the way that you've been training it for so long. But I will never forget that moment coming out the hatch and looking down and seeing just my boots and the earth below. And it was such a spectacular and beautiful sight. It was really quite overwhelming. And we went out and did the job that we had to do. And we're lucky enough to have some time to enjoy the view as well.
All right, we are going to go to the phone bridge now. For reporters online, please press *1 to let us know you have a question, and you can press *2 to withdraw it if it gets answered. But we are going to start with Marcia Dunn from Associated Press.
Oh, yes. Hi. Congratulations, both of you. Eileen Collins once told me that she felt she had to be better than her male pilot colleagues just to be equal in their eyes. And did you feel like that, too, as you floated out, that you had to prove yourselves in a way that your male colleagues do not?
Well, I think, first of all, we're really all held to the same standard at NASA. So Christina and I were actually part of the very first time that a class had 50% men, 50% women in our class. And from the very beginning of our training, we were all trained and treated the same way. So when I went out the door for the first time, I was thinking about all of these things about doing my first spacewalk. I wasn't thinking, was I going out the door with a man or with a woman? That really didn't matter to me in my eyes, because everybody up here right now has been held to that same standard and has received the same training. So for me, I think I felt that it really didn't make a difference.
Okay, next we will go to Edgar Herwick with NPR Boston.
Hi, congratulations to both of you, and thanks for taking some time out of your, I'm sure, busy day to chat with us. I have a question for Jessica. Jessica, you and I spoke way back in 2013 here at WGBH when you were first accepted into the astronaut class. And back then you told me that you had basically spent 30 years of your life dreaming of becoming an astronaut. And when I asked you, now that you've become an astronaut, what's the new dream? You said to go into space. That's the ultimate new dream. And it didn't take 30 years, but now you have done that and made history. So my question for you is, what is next? What is your next life stream?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something I'm going to really need to start thinking about. The other part after going to space was the one thing that I always said. Actually, I wrote this in my high school yearbook. Under future plans, I said to go for a spacewalk. So I finally checked that box and have lived that dream. And now what's next, I'm not sure. You know, there is still so much ahead. I'm only 3 weeks into my 6-month mission, so there's a lot that I have to look forward to, capturing visiting vehicles, hopefully doing a few more spacewalks. We'll see how that pans out, contributing in a wide variety of scientific experiments up here. So we have a lot of future goals up here. But I think another dream would be to go to the moon. That's always the image I had from the very first drawing I did of when I said I wanted to be an astronaut in the first grade, was standing on the surface of the moon. So I think maybe I'll make that my new dream.
How does New England look from up there? And keep in mind your former colleagues at MEGH and former neighbors in Somerville will be listening.
Well, looking out the window back toward the Earth is one of our favorite pastimes up here, and we spend a lot of our free time doing that. Actually, we had a few passes over Maine today, and I was going to try to get a picture of northern Maine where I grew up, but I missed the opportunity, so I'm going to try to look for a window tomorrow. It's an unbelievable sight to see, and I was hoping to see some fall foliage colors. It's a little bit tough to tell the difference right now, but we'll see as we go throughout the seasons.
Okay, we will go next to Lauren Grush from The Verge.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Before you received your assignments that you were going out together, you both acknowledged the importance of representation and for other women to see women like you going out and doing these spacewalks together. Did that weigh on your mind when you guys stepped out together, knowing just how excited everyone was going to be about the two of you doing this spacewalk?
That's absolutely right. I've definitely drawn encouragement from mentors that I can see reflections of myself in throughout my life. And so recognizing that we may be offering that for future space explorers or explorers of any kind or anyone pursuing a dream was definitely a privilege and an honor. And I would say that if anything, it just added to the moment. It added to the amazing experience of being able to contribute to this program in that way. It added to the experience of kind of a culmination of so much of our training ending up in that moment when we stepped out the hatch or floated out the hatch. So I would say that I wouldn't call it a weight. I would call it the opposite. I would call it something uplifting, something that allowed us to be our best, to bring our best to that day, and to recognize that we have a gift and an opportunity to potentially inspire the future.
Okay, we will go next to Mark Carreau from Aviation Week.
Thank you. I have a question for either or both of you. How might your experience continue to encourage diversity in human space exploration, and what might that bring to the whole concept that furthers it? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think that what we see right now with both Christina and I up here together and the fact that we did just conduct that spacewalk is that we are trending in the right direction. We do have more females and more diversity in general in all of the STEM fields, science, engineering, math, technology, and that has led to a higher percentage of women in the astronaut classes. Ours, for example, being 50% female, and the class after ours being almost 50% female. So I think we're seeing that trend. It's going in the right direction, and to me, that kind of gender equality and that kind of inclusion of diversity in any group is really the way to get the job done, to have a successful mission. If you have different ways of looking at things, different ways at solving a problem, whether it's from different life experiences, different backgrounds, whatever a different person has to bring to the table, that is going to lead, I think, to higher mission success because you have several different ways of looking at the problem. And to me, that's going to end up with a better solution and a more creative solution, and I think overall a happier team as well.
Okay, next we'll go to Ivan from AFP.
Thank you very much. There's only a dozen active women astronauts who can be in that first mission to walk on the moon. Christina, would you also want to be that woman to walk on the moon? And for both of you, do you know how the selection process is going to work?
The idea of having the honor of being the first woman to walk on the moon is almost too great to fathom. Of course, it would be a dream of mine and has been my entire life. But for now, I'll just settle for knowing that I'll probably at least know the first woman to walk on the moon. Hint, hint. I definitely do not necessarily know the selection process, but I do know that every single person in our office is extremely qualified, and whoever does that mission will be the right person for the job and will carry the hopes and dreams of everyone to explore.
Okay, just a reminder for folks on the phone, you can press *1 to let us know you have a question. I think we'll have some time for follow-ups, but first we'll take a few from online. We have Atlantic, who just wants to know, how does it feel to have been part of the first all-female spacewalk?
Well, for me, since it was my first spacewalk in general, that was an overall overwhelming and incredible feeling. And the fact that I did it with another woman and actually with my friend, close friend and colleague Christina, really made it even more special. And I think that was because Christina and I have been working together for 6 years now, even in very, very close proximity for the last 2 years. And we know each other well, we understand each other. I think that we make a great team. And that all went into this play of having a successful and productive and fairly uneventful, in a good way, spacewalk. So it really meant a lot to me personally to have this first experience for my spacewalk with Christina. But I think that we do recognize it is a historical achievement. It does carry a lot of weight to other people. And for us, when we see that many times in our lives, it does make a difference if somebody can identify with somebody, something about them, some kind of shared experience with them, whether it's something similar to their background or experiences or what they look like or the fact that they have long curly brown hair, who knows? If sometimes that makes it easier to have an inspiration and have a connection and motivation for something great. So it really does mean a great deal for us to have this, to share this experience together, and hopefully it does inspire and educate those that will follow us.
And for Christina, this one's coming from Mary. She asked, on your 4th spacewalk, what parts still give you a sense of wonder?
Well, I would say that in addition to this spacewalk obviously being the first instance of 2 women conducting a spacewalk, it was a privilege for me to go out with Jessica on her first spacewalk. In my last 3 spacewalks, the person I headed out the hatch with had already experienced it. So even in the days leading up to it, the questions that we talked about, the preparation, the training, talking about what to expect, the nuances that would be different, the feeling that I explained that you might have when you're translating along the station and you look down and you see the earth, the vibrant ocean below you, 250 miles. So it was really special for me to sort of lead someone out the door for the first time and to just experience that sense of wonder all over again through Jessica's eyes.
Okay, we will go back to the phone bridge now and get a follow-up question from Marcia Dunn.
Yes, hi again. Spaceflight has traditionally been full of patriarchal words like mankind, manned spaceflight, manned rockets. It's time for some new language, and I'm wondering what each of you would propose instead of all the manned and mankind spaceflight rockets.
Well, it's been really nice to see that in the last several years, a lot of that language has been replaced, because even though that language is meant to represent all of humanity, it does conjure up images of men being the main participants. And so I've been happy to see instances of people, humankind, things like that being introduced. So I just continue to use that language myself and to encourage its use in others.
And now a follow-up question from Lauren Grush.
Hi, thanks for taking my next question. I was just curious to know why you think it took so long for us to get to this big milestone, and how do you envision spacewalks and other EVAs looking as we move forward?
Well, I think that where we are is representative of the change that we're seeing now. We are seeing more females, we're seeing more diversity in all of the STEM fields, and that's why I think we're seeing more female astronauts now and why we have this first female spacewalk at this time. I think in terms of spacewalking in general, the legacy in which our suits were developed, the technology for our spacesuits that we're still wearing today was actually developed in the 70s, and the astronaut population did look a little bit different back then. So I think that when people try to understand why we have the suits that we have, when you have technology that was developed in hardware that takes a long time to be proven and tested and make its way to spaceflight, sometimes the effects of those decisions made back in the 70s carry over for decades to come. So that's really why we are in the situation that we are right now, when people are thinking, well, how come these spacesuits don't fit women, or other things that you might have read about in the press. We are moving in the right direction in that regard as well. We have suits up here that fit us well that we've been training in for the last 6 years, so we feel very comfortable working in those suits. And the best part of the news is that our new suit, which a woman will wear on the surface of the moon, the XEMU it's called, was actually designed to fit smaller sized people. The engineers smartly realize that it's easier to scale up than it is to scale down. So the first prototypes of that spacesuit are actually made for smaller bodied people. So I think we are trending in the right direction, and I think that we will continue to see that progress and an increase in diversity in all of these fields.
Okay, we will go back to a few more online questions. This one's coming from Livia, wanting to know, what new expectations do you have of future spacewalks that you didn't have before this one?
That's an interesting question to consider. To be honest, this spacewalk doesn't really change my future expectations, and I say that because it wasn't necessarily planned to be an all-female spacewalk. When I found out that Jessica was going to be my partner in the spacewalk, it didn't strike me as any different as it would if it had been Drew again or Nick again. And that's because we all have been training together. So we executed the spacewalk plan and mission the same way that I've executed in the past with my male colleagues, and I'll continue to do that if I have the privilege of going out the hatch one more time. So I think that what I will say is that I hope it's changed because now the whole field has been opened up. So we're in sort of a new chapter now where we've crossed that line, and now 2 women have done it. And so hopefully it'll become commonplace, and it won't even necessarily be something that's a big deal down the road.
Great. And this one is coming from a Red Team Spin. They're actually asking if we know anything more about the contamination on Christina's glove that we talked about at the end of the spacewalk.
I guess I'll take that one since it was my gloves. So this spacewalk involved an interesting component, which was that I got to actually ride on the end of the space station robotic arm, which was an incredible privilege. It was something we do train for, but since it's rare, not many people actually get the experience of doing that. Part of what that involves is actually installing a foot restraint on the end of the arm, the end that's actually normally just meant to grapple to, say, a visiting cargo vehicle or to a part of station to take care of some robotics operations. And so, of course, a mechanical component like that has grease and lubrication. And what the engineers think at this point is that my hand just brushed up against some of that when I was installing that foot restraint. And so we have those gloves inside now. They're just a little bit stained. And yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could stay just as clean when I'm in my spacesuit as I attempt to do when I'm eating in the galley and our food floats around. But it shouldn't be any kind of a big deal to take from here.
That's great news. And we're going to go back to the phone now. We're going to hear a follow-up from Edgar Herwick.
Hi, yeah, thanks for taking another question for me. I wonder, this is for both of you really, but Jessica, this being your first spacewalk, you spend so much time preparing for this and training for this, but I wonder once you get out there and you're doing it, what aspect or aspects of it surprised you, whether that be what you felt, what was going through your mind, what kind of was the most surprising aspect of this?
I think the most surprising aspect was something that I was prepared for, but I was still surprised by how strong it was. And we do experience it a bit inside the space station, but I felt it even more outside the space station because of the very large mass of the spacesuit. So in talking earlier about the differences between training in the neutral buoyancy lab underwater or in space, we have very different forces at play. Underwater, you have the drag of the water that slows you down and actually holds you into position. So when you stop moving in the pool, you generally stay where you are because of the drag of the water, the viscosity of the water. When you're in space, the slightest motion will just keep you spinning or keep you turning. So even though I knew I was prepared for this in my brain and lots of people told me and I knew what I had to do to try to counteract it, I was still surprised by how unstable you would be if you imparted motion in any direction, particularly because now it's not just the mass of you that I'm used to inside the space station, it's that great big mass of me, any tools I'm working with, any hardware I'm working with. So I found it quite difficult. You had to be really creative and think, figure out the physics involved in keeping yourself in place when you're doing a certain work task, because otherwise you can just very easily almost spin completely around when you impart any motion into anything. So that was something that surprised me by how strong it was, but I think even by the end of the spacewalk I was getting more used to it and learning, and I think that's one of the big things that people deal with on the very first time they go out the door.
Fun challenge, figuring that out.
And for me, I would actually agree with Jessica, but to add to that, another surprising thing is just the clarity of the Earth below you. We don't have a lot of time to look around and take in the view. We're very, very focused. In fact, on my first spacewalk, I don't think I looked around hardly at all. But having been out there a few more times and feeling a little bit more comfortable, the Earth is just absolutely stunningly beautiful, and the clarity and how close it feels was really a big surprise to me, especially when moving down the main truss of the station, or what we call the backbone. We have a long translation out to our work site, and looking down and, just like Jessica described, seeing nothing but a vibrant ocean below your feet and recognizing that it's 250 miles down was quite an amazing experience and definitely a surprise.
Okay, and we've got another question from Ivan from AFP.
Thank you very much again. Maybe just a follow-up to a previous question. Do you feel that women face physical challenges in space that are different from men, even though you are all trained exactly the same way?
They have found some very interesting differences in small aspects of how the female and male bodies adapt to spaceflight. Some of those are related to vision, some of those are related to orthostatic tolerance, things like that, but nothing really major that jumps out. I've been up here and I've been fortunate enough to see many crews arrive and just watching a lot of different people adapt. And for the most part, all the adaptations that our bodies go through in that kind of change process is more or less the same. Some people may have aches and pains in different ways. Some people may face more motion sickness or less motion sickness when they first get here. But for the most part, everyone adapts about the same.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll take another one from Robert Perlman.
Hi. If the BCDU had not failed, you'd have been going out the door today together. With that type of shuffle of schedule, does that now leave how quickly do you resume a regular schedule on station? Does that now leave you with a little bit of extra time, get to watch the World Series? What does your schedule look like going ahead?
Well, it's always a very dynamic schedule up here, and we're constantly adapting. Since we weren't planning on doing this spacewalk, but we were planning on doing the other ones, there was a lot of replanning on the ground. Fortunately, we have some very smart, capable people on the ground that help us figure out all the logistics for that. But the short answer is no, we certainly aren't taking a lot of time off. We had actually had almost a full weekend off, which was nice, because that was the first time I'd seen that since I'd been up here during this busy spacewalk phase. But we have all of the other goals to accomplish on the space station. We have the scientific experiments, we have the maintenance, we have a cargo vehicle here. The Japanese cargo transfer vehicle is here, and we need to finish loading and unloading that vehicle. So really, we're just resuming all of the other activities that were kind of on hold when we were very busy doing the spacewalks.
Okay, and we had a lot of first-timers tuning in for the spacewalk last Friday, so we have a few kind of spacewalk 101 questions I was hoping to get you to answer. One from Saxjim, who said, do you feel the temperature changes during the spacewalk?
That is a great question. We absolutely feel the temperature changes. Our suit is designed to insulate between the day and the night cycles, which can be anywhere from plus 250 to 300 degrees to minus 250 to 300 degrees, just going in and out of daylight, which, as you probably know, happens about every 45 minutes because we're orbiting the Earth about every hour and a half. So when that happens, you definitely feel a little bit warmer, but it's not as warm as you would feel, obviously, if you didn't have the highly insulating ability of the suit around you. We do have the ability to turn up the kind of air conditioning system, if you will, in our suit, and so we can adjust that on the fly, but what most of us do to try and stay the most efficient that we can to not have to make too many adjustments is to find a setting that works for both the day and the night. So just when you're starting to get a little chilly at night, then it's time for a sunrise and you warm back up.
Okay, and from Marcus, after a spacewalk, do you need to spend time readjusting to the space station's pressure?
We don't really need to readjust in terms of our bodies, but we do, of course, have to depress and then repressurize. So depressurize and repressurize the crew lock and the airlock in order to leave the vehicle. So in order to open the hatch, we have to depress and equilibrate the pressure so that it's the same as the vacuum outside. And then when we go back in, before we open the hatch that joins to the rest of the space station, of course, we have to bring the air back in. We have to repressurize that so that we can open that hatch. We can only open these hatches in between the different segments when we've equalized the pressure. So we do have to spend that period we're still in our suits, and we're waiting for the crew lock to repressurize before we can open the hatch. We get out of our suits, and then we still are at the pressure that we were at before the spacewalk. So it doesn't really involve much adaptation after that.
Okay, and I think we have time for one more. Kostov wants to know when we will see the next all-female spacewalk.
Well, that's a good question. We don't know the answer to that right now. We probably will have some more spacewalks this expedition while we're both up here. There will be a series of spacewalks that may happen before any more of the battery spacewalks. Right now, really, the answer is we don't know. We have some spacewalks coming up to fix the alpha magnetic spectrometer, and we may have some battery spacewalks after that. So there's a chance that Christina and I could go out the door again together, but right now we don't know. Those assignments haven't been made yet.
Well, we will certainly be tuning in for any and all spacewalks from the International Space Station. Thank you again so much. We had a great time watching you last week, and we really appreciate you taking time to answer our questions. That concludes our event.